Today I actually want to make a video going more into relationships, specifically romantic relationships, social relationships, family relationships, and your relationship with yourself. I do think it's an important thing to go over with you guys, just because recently I had a friend hit me up on Instagram and they wanted to just get some advice from me, and they think I'm pretty insightful when it comes to things like this. I am no professional when it comes to things. I just gathered my own experience. I've been through stuff. I've had a couple relationships myself. I know some people who've also had relationships. So we've spoken. I read some books. I did a little this, a little that. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with romantic relationships. What makes a romantic relationship successful? Is it going to be communication? There's been evidence that long distance and no distance relationships both have a higher rate of success when communication is held at the forefront. And with long distance relationships, those who are even further apart are actually more successful than those that are slightly apart, just because there's usually a time difference involved, and that forces that to be more of a priority, because now it's even harder to communicate with your individual, your significant other, and that just puts that kind of emphasis on the effort of, okay, I need you to understand that I'm here for you. I need you to understand that I'm always going to be here for you. I'm talking to you. I want to communicate with you. It's a priority for me. So that's definitely the number one thing that anybody can work on. If you want to just be better in your relationship, if you feel like you just are missing something, just talk a little more, because that's where everything else is going to stem out from. You want to be able to communicate problems you're having with each other, problems you're having around each other, problems that you do or don't have, things that you do want, things that you don't want. Communicating your needs, your wants, your love language, all of that is where things start to fall apart. If you cannot communicate what you want, you're asking for a failure. So definitely communicate. You want to make sure you match with your person. People have love languages. Everybody's aware of this. It's usually tied with like your childhood and stuff like that. But essentially, you want to know if somebody is more focused on touch. You want to understand if somebody's more focused on gifts. I've had relationships where it's completely where we just didn't understand what each other's needs were. I have an ex that was super into receiving gifts, and that was what they wanted. They didn't care at all about physical touch. But for me, I'm a very physical person. I'm very affectionate, and that would just butt heads because we wouldn't communicate about it. It was just, oh, this kid's clingy, and oh, she's just greedy. No, their love language was just different from mine. That was in high school sometime. I don't know. Anyways, because we didn't understand each other, whatever happened. It didn't work out. Next topic is going to be what ruins a relationship. Lack of communication. What else will ruin unfaithfulness? Duh. Don't cheat. That's stupid. Besides cheating, is going to be speaking outside. So your personal life should be personal. Romantic relationships are very easily torn apart by outside parties when your significant other goes and complains to a third or fourth party, and all they ever hear is just the complaints about you, what you're not doing, what you are doing, and they rarely receive communication on, oh, we did this great thing, they were so romantic in this way, they were so caring in this way, they really met my needs when this happened. And because of your 20%, 10%, 15% of not fulfilling them, and them seeking outside reassurance, outside guidance, that third party received 100% complaints about you. So of course they will undermine you in their ignorance of how well you've done outside of that 10-15% where you're not doing what your partner needs. Do not allow too much conversation outside of a relationship about your relationship when it's romantic, because you don't want other people to get the wrong picture of, oh, this dude really just neglects her all the time because that's all I'm hearing. Or, oh, that girl is literally always out drinking, ignoring this kid. He's depressed. He should leave her. Blah, 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 blah. You want to minimize how much you're going outside for things that you can come to each other for. If you have an issue, like I said, communicate it. That's the number one thing you can do. And some people, they need to have just a step back, breathe, and then they can communicate, and that's okay too. You don't have to communicate right away, but make a date, make a plan to communicate within 24 hours of an issue. That should be like a little rule that you can have with your relationship. Hey, we don't need to speak about this right now. It does affect me, but I need to cool down. I need space. I need time to process this. Give me a couple hours and I think I'll be able to talk about this. Or give me until tomorrow and then I do want to talk about this and figure this out so we can move forward past this issue. Don't let things stack up. What's important in a relationship? The other person? Not always. A relationship is supposed to feed you and them. It should never be one-sided. There should always be benefit for both parties. Not at any given time, of course, because you will always, at one point, someone's going to need support, someone's going to be supporting, and then vice versa. But in most scenarios, there should always be pouring into each other's cup. You guys need to fill each other's cups, motivate each other, push each other to do what you want to do, set goals with each other, for each other, about each other. With the relationship, set goals. Hey, as a relationship, I want to be at this place, in this headspace, by this time. What sort of actions can we take to get there? You need to be able to motivate your partner. And it doesn't have to be, oh, if you get this done, I'll do this for you. No. Hey, if you get this done, aren't you going to feel great? Hey, if we do this together, will it go by faster? Will you be able to do this faster? But then I need help with this. And there goes pouring into each other's cups. You don't always have to be working towards some major goal. It could be small things. Hey, let's clean the whole house by the end of this week so that all next week we can do whatever we want. We'll do a little bit of cleaning it here and there just to ease it out. But let's do this together within Friday, Saturday. We'll team up on this. We'll team up on this. We'll split up for these tasks that we find easier alone. And we'll come back together for this task that's a little difficult for the both of us. We'll just kill it together. You always want to see a relationship as a team and a group effort because it can never be one-sided. And if it is, it's a parasitic relationship. It's a toxic relationship. You don't need to be held down by someone and you don't need to be dead weight to someone. So always keep that in mind. You always want to bring value and have value brought to you. What makes some relationships easy and what makes some relationships hard? Every relationship has its own trials and tribulations. Some people just get through things easier. Some people get through things a little bit harder. What is the main focus in this sort of question would be how much are they letting out? Like I said, private life should remain private, and some couples just keep it locked down and they don't talk about their issues. They handle it together and they're fine with it. Some couples can't help but just blab and blab and blab about their issues. All they can do is talk about it. So there's that big defining difference of, okay, are you going to the third party? Are you not going to third party? Are you talking too much about your relationship to the fact that people are getting the wrong impression of what is your relationship? Do they think it's unhealthy now that all you did was complain about XYZ, even though you guys fixed that the next day? But now that's on that third party's mind for the next week. And every time that you guys are brought up in a conversation, that's what they remember versus any other memories they have of you both together, just you complaining. Just to close out romantic relationships, love your person. If you don't genuinely love your person, do not be in that relationship. You're wasting your time and theirs. There is nothing worse than leading someone on if you know you are not there for good. You're done. And that's one thing a lot of people get wrong in relationships too. You could date and then you can be in a relationship. It's okay to be in a dating phase with someone with no labels attached. You can be exclusively dating them, but you don't need to have them as your girlfriend, have them as your boyfriend. They don't need to be your significant other until you understand, hey, I really do want more with this person. And that's where that communication comes into play as well. In those early stages, a lot of the times an individual is like, hey, you want to date me? And it's miscommunicated as, do you want to be my significant other? Versus, hey, I would like to court you for, let's say, 2 or 3 months, and I want to come back and revisit that topic after getting to know each other a little bit better and make a decision as far as, could we possibly be a relationship? Can you be my significant other eventually? I would want someone to be more upfront about that, and just from there communicate that. Social relationships, what makes them successful? A social relationship such as friendships or business partnerships, they're successful when everybody is bringing value to the table and no one is just empty pocket stuffing everything in. You want to make sure you're taking care of your relationships and maintaining your relationships. You want to be there for individuals. You want to know what their needs are and have plans in place to help them be fulfilled and feel fulfilled as a result of you being in a relationship with them. What is the purpose of a social relationship? Mental health, happiness, fun, joy. Social relationships, we're social beings. If you're shut in for too long, your brain gets a little, and we are meant to just interact with each other. What makes some social relationships bad for you? When it's completely one-sided and an individual isn't adding value to you, as well as they are being a detriment to you, whether it's your safety or your financial security or your mental peace. Some people are just not good for you. They're not healthy to have in your life. And although you may like the person for something that they've done at one point in time, not everyone is meant to stay around you. Some people are meant to just be a building block to who your character develops into and who you become. Family relationships. I feel like family relationships should be treated as social relationships, just for the fact that just because your family is your family and you're related by blood doesn't mean you have the same ideologies. There's plenty of diversity inside and outside of family. There's friendships that feel stronger than blood relationships. There's so much in the sense of, he wasn't born my brother, but he feels like my brother. She wasn't born my sister, but she feels like a sister. She feels like what I would want out of a sister. She feels like what a mother feels like to me, blah, blah, blah. There's plenty of people that come into your life and they become these distinct figures that, although they're not blood relatives to you, it feels like it, and you benefit so much from those relationships. You can have family members that are beautiful to you as well, but there's also family members that are abusive, toxic, and not fit to be in your life. So do not be afraid to remove any individual from your life if they are of ill intent for you, if they are deciding things that might spite you, if they are not believing in you or supporting you. You have to make decisions for yourselves. You have to take care of you, and you have to focus on, is this person holding me down or lifting me up? Are they supporting me? As well as you have to look at it from the other perspective too. Are you that toxic person? Are you holding people down? Are you hurting people? Do you want to hurt people? Why? Think back, reflect on it, and try to figure out how you can improve. Relationship with yourself. Are you taking care of you? The number one person on your team is going to be you. Number two can be your significant other, it can be your pet, it can be whoever you choose. But the number one person on your team that will literally forever be with you is you. So make sure that you are taking care of your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, because that is your responsibility to yourself care for you. You put yourself in harm's way. Understand, like, imagine you were the manager for someone else's life. You were hired for the task. Make this person as successful as possible. Make them realize their dreams and become the highest performing version of themselves and the happiest version of themselves. And what would you remove out of your life and place into your life? What sort of work ethic would you push on that person to get where you were hired to put them? What sort of focus would you put on doing X, Y, and Z versus A, B, and C? There's different things that everybody can do to get better, and everybody can do to get worse. But it is up to you as your manager of yourself on your team, always with player number one. How can I level up? How can I improve? How can I prosper? How can I make myself better? Always compete with your past self and always look up to who you're going to become. And as long as you aim high, you'll miss high. I never expect to win at anything. I always aim higher than I can possibly think to attain something. But I am always happy with the result, because if I aim high, I know I'm going to miss high. And sometimes I overshoot and I get even higher than I aimed. So definitely take care of yourself. Focus on making sure you manage your time, you manage your relationships, and you manage what it is you're putting your energy into to become the best version of yourself, because you were hired to make yourself the best version of yourself possible. The people that you love later in life deserve the best version of yourself, and you should always strive to become that person as soon as possible so you can give those people what they deserve as soon as possible. So you're ready for them. And when you hit that mark, just keep going. You'll be happier.